The Lyrians stepped inside Mount Carbon's bowels. Meve rode while looking upwards, admiring the intricately carved ceiling, gilded walls, monumental bas-reliefs carved from basalt. Yet this was no time to admire the sights.
I thank you for your invitation.
My invitation? Choice term, lass. You wangled your way in here. Long I've lived, but...
With all due respect, do you not feel like a pot conversing with a...
Ha! True enough. Changes of mind didn't come easy to me. But they do come. Human wars concern me not at all. For so many they are, who could count them? A year goes by without one wanking king invading another's realm. A dog with scabies is less. That's why, this morning, I aimed to send you off with nothing. Mattered not what the clans were saying. Rivia, Schmivia, who gives a sheep's fart? But that was this morn, before that daft wench and her pups attack. Nilfgaard supports the Scoia'tael, it's common knowledge. Nilfgaard uses them. Well, I'm nae worse, and I choose to use Queen...
So what use would you make of me, if I might ask?
Aye, the kind dwarves like best. Like to give Nilfgaard a warning, you ken. If you're going to rile my dwarves, throw 'em into the Scoia'tael ranks. You'll regret it, aye? But I'd like to issue the warning without declaring war. All clear. So, when you march out of Mahakam, you'll find a company of our foot dwarves waiting out with the gate. Officially, volunteers, enlisting with you against my will. And you're to put them at the fore next time you face Nilfgaard. Want the Blacklads to break their teeth on our bucklers, get a taste of our axe blades. After that, dare say they'll think twice before they say...
I do not... Thank you, Elder. You restore my hope that I shall have my...
Faith can move mountains, aye, but it can't do much about borders. I've watched you close, and must admit you're a plucky lass. That enough for Nilfgaard? Can it be...
We will see. I would like to march at once.
Nay, not granted. At once? What's that mean? Our laws are clear. Guests are to be sent off with...
Bruver, as was Bruver's wont, insisted. So the Queen accepted the invitation, but as was her wont, set a condition. The feast was to last but one night, and not, as was the wont of local. All clans were to be represented at the feast, save one, of course, the Zigrins. For they had already learned their punishment. The entire clan was banished from Mahakam. An exception was made for one of their number, for Gabor, who was beheaded before the day was done. When the sun had retired behind the peaks, the underground city came alive with the sound of bugles, bagpipes, and horns. The dwarves emerged out into the central square and danced exuberantly, sparks kicking up from their hobnail boots. The usually crabby elder-in-chief, suddenly a messenger arrived. Bruver lifted his copper horn to his ear and listened with furrowed brow.
What's that? Speak up!
When she saw a sour grin on his face, Meve knew the tidings were not good. Yet she did not suspect they pertained to her direct.
Meve, you expect...
How's that?
Runner says a delegation's arrived at Carbon. Frae Lyria and Rivia. Got a...
How dare they?
You'd best...
Who leads the delegate?
It's your son.
Villain.
Mahakam remains neutral as regards all your squabbles. I trust I needn't remind you. So I'll have no scrambling or shoving, and certainly no bloodshed.
I wish to speak to him.
I'd forbid you, but, as I said, never seen a more stubborn wench.
Meve spotted banners, a Lyrian eagle upon one surrounded by Nilfgaard's black rags. Her hands became fists, showing how helpless she felt. Then her...
My. I should apologize. It seems I missed the coronation. Congratulations, my son.
Count Caldwell.
Ah, yes. Why have you come here of all places?
As my official mission, yes. Yet unofficially, I trust you've had tidings from the field. Edirn turned to ash and dust. Vizimir murdered Redania in chaos. Foltest forced to strike a pact by his vassals betrayed, Henselt the same.
This limerick, will it come to...
Why, yes, to the same as this war. Mother, I beg you, you must see it. Nilfgaard's victory is inevitable.
There will be no later. We shall repel them.
This we, Mother. Who precisely do you mean?
An impression many might have indeed.
Where, Mother? In Zerrikania? For here, in the north...
Your friends from Nilfgaard will learn that is simply not true. When they're ignorant...
So you aim to persist?
For our freedom.
Curious. I could have sworn it was for your ambition. To soothe... When I was crowned, a fact you deride, though that makes it no less true, I swore the good of my subjects would guide me.
And slavery can. You know well the Blackclads put peasant...
Reprehensible,
And resettlement? Forced labour? Cruel laws that make death the punishment for the slightest offences?
I see I will not sway you, Mother. A shame, though I take comfort in the fact I tried.
Oh no. I, not you, will decide...
Oh, have we anything else?
Naturally.
I received...
Oh, roses are red and so are your cheeks, my son. As ever when you're caught in a... Lyria is 2 weeks' travel hence. Had you received word only once I was here, we'd have been long gone from Mahakam by the time you assembled a force and No. You were forewarned of our intended route. It means I've a traitor. Get out of my sight, then. And pray we only ever face one another on neutral ground.
Meve struggled inside not to turn and gaze once more at her son. He'd changed since they'd last faced each other, grown manlier. The Queen returned to the banquet hall. Her advisors shot her questioning glances, curious what she had discussed with Bruver. But Meve decided to keep the details to herself. One of them wore a Nilfgaardian lead around his neck. Until she knew who, she...
Feasting's done, Reynard. We must...
I've thought on it, Your Grace. We've strength enough to hit the foe, but still not the numbers to face him in open.
So what do you propose?
This war we cannot win alone, nor even with the dwarves at our side. But if we secure a victory, small yet symbolic, we shall show the other realm. Thus, I propose we attack behind the front lines, somewhere well clear of...
Where would you suggest?
I'm considering Angren. To begin with, a thickly wooded marshy land, always helpful in clandestine operations. Secondly, the land's strategically important, as it's the chief source of building material for Nilfgaard.
All too little, I fear. Since we require a victory that would be symbolic, we must strike...
Just recently welcomed a new regent, in the person of Count Coldwell. My third argument. Naturally, if your Majesty wishes...
No need.
Meve had toiled, cajoled, persuaded, and gained the dwarves' support. She left Mahakam strengthened, markedly. Even so, the Queen was in a foul mood. For it was clear a traitor, a viper, nested among the Lyrians. Someone who had conveyed the Queen's plans to her foe. From this moment on, Meve would need to weigh every word she uttered, even in the presence of her closest associates.
Your Grace, we must plot our course forward. Shall we take the western passage into Angren, or...
Not now.
When, then? Dawn approaches, yet we know nothing of where...
I will not repeat myself.
The Queen knew she would learn the traitor's identity in the end. If need be, she would tear the name from the throat of another turncoat, Count Caldwell. Meve drooled at the prospect of seeing Caldwell in chains, then passing him to the hangman.
Saddle the horses. I shall take the fore.
The time for diplomacy, for preparations and negotiations had gone. Meve was to attack her foe at last, and she could not wait to do so. At long last, Meave's force reached Angren's marshy woods. Ever been? No. Count yourselves lucky.
You certain we haven't lost our way?
Alas, here there is no way. We continue south, that's all.
South meaning the bottom.
Should you ever venture there, I offer you this advice. Do your utmost to make no noise. Poor soul. His comrades cried out, reached out, but alas, amidst frothing waters they heard bones cracking, the moan of metal bent and crushed.
What the... bloody hell, what was that?
Rather not know, personally.
Hold your positions! Arms at the ready!
It was a glusty war. One of many the Lyrians would encounter along their path. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. At last, Meave and her force stood upon the Yaruga's bank. To find and punish the traitor Caldwell, they would have to cross the river. Yet the sole bridge nearby was in Nilfgaard's hands.